Yeah.
Live from Independence Mall, this is Eyewitness News.
What really matters is Iraq's compliance, not its stated commitments. Not what Iraq says, but what it does.
A deal is signed to end the crisis in Iraq, but the White House adopts a wait-and-see attitude. Good evening, I'm Dawn Stensland.
And I'm Larry Kane. Hoping to avoid a U.S. attack, Saddam Hussein promises to give weapons inspectors full access to any site in Iraq. Now, that includes the so-called presidential palaces, but our president says the big if here is whether or not Hussein will actually carry out the agreement. There were broad smiles in Baghdad early today as Iraq's Deputy Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz, on the right, shook hands with UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Iraqi TV showed Saddam Hussein meeting with his Revolutionary Council, his top advisors, after the agreement was signed. This afternoon, President Clinton was blunt in accepting the UN deal.
If Iraq fails to comply this time, to provide immediate, unrestricted, unconditional access to the weapons inspectors, there will be serious consequences.
The president added that the large U.S. military presence in and around the Persian Gulf will remain for the time being, just in case Hussein goes back on his word. And of course, you can see more on the crisis in Iraq on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather at 6:30, and then on Eyewitness News tonight at 11 o'clock.
Here at home, the search is on for a killer. The victim, a 66-year-old dance instructor, found dead inside her Montgomery County studio. Eyewitness News has the latest live.
Eyewitness News reporter Walt Hunter is standing by in King of Prussia, live with that story tonight. Walt?
Well, Larry, for years in her dance studio here at the Marquis Apartments, Joan DeMarco brought the beauty of dance to so many people. And it was in that very studio yesterday that she was found dead, a victim of murder.
I was stunned. I got a call last night, and someone had told me that what had happened, and they said a dance studio in King of Prussia. I really didn't know. The only one I knew out there was Joan. I said, was it Joan DeMarco? And they said yes, and I was just stunned.
Longtime friend Don Celia remembers ballroom dance instructor Joan DeMarco, seen in this exhibition video, as a vibrant, talented woman. But Sunday, police responding to the Marquis Apartments in King of Prussia found 66-year-old DeMarco murdered in her basement studio.
Mrs. DeMarco died of blunt trauma to the head, and we have reason to believe that she interrupted a burglary in progress.
The ballroom dance instructor's co-workers had notified police after she failed to arrive at a part-time job nearby. As detectives looked for clues, the violence left tenants here shaken.
I used to feel real comfortable, with a guarded gate and, and a security entry, but now it's, raises different questions in my mind.
Friends say DeMarco had been worried about crime following a burglary at her studio in December. Tenants also had questions about security.
Would it be difficult for a stranger to get in here?
Would it be difficult? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, no.
No one, however, could imagine that a woman who brought such charm and beauty to so many on the dance floor could wind up a victim of such terrible violence. Now, repeated attempts to reach the management here at the Marquis Apartments for comment on security have been unsuccessful. They have not returned calls to Eyewitness News. Meanwhile, police here in Upper Merion say right now they have no suspects. That's it live for Eyewitness News from Upper Merion. We'll go back to you, Larry and Dawn.
Okay, thank you, Walt. A major victory for Megan's Law in New Jersey today. The U.S. Supreme Court let the law stand and rejected a challenge from released sex offenders who argued that the community notification law is additional punishment. And the law is named after, of course, 7-year-old Megan Kanka, raped and murdered in 1994 by her neighbor Jesse Timendekwas, a convicted child molester. Today, the girl's mother had this advice for all parents.
When they're notified of that offender, to take that information, make their children aware of who the person is. This law will not benefit any child if they don't know who the offender is, and let them know that you stay away from this person.
Now, because the Supreme Court rejected the challenge and did not officially make a ruling, the case could be appealed to the High Court once again.
Deadly twisters tore a wide path of carnage and destruction in Florida today. Have you seen the video here? At least 38 people killed, hundreds of homes damaged or destroyed. Look at that semi. Parts of central Florida, north and south of Orlando, look like the aftermath of an air raid. But the 3 big theme parks in Orlando were spared and are open, we're told. Meteorologists say some of the tornadoes had wind speeds of more than 200 miles an hour. Stunned survivors say they don't know how they came out of it alive.
The wind it was rocking the trailer back and forth, and then it picked us up, put the trailer on its side, and in the meantime, everything was flying all over, furniture and everything.
Some areas still don't have electricity or phone service. That same storm system is bringing high winds and rain to the Jersey Shore and many parts of our area, as you can see from this live picture from the Eyewitness News shore cam right now. Meteorologist Tom LeMaine will be along soon with a look at what we can expect.
Well, the problem in Delaware County was not rain, but fire overnight. A Delco family is homeless but safe after a raging fire tore through their home. Eyewitness News was on the scene as 80 firefighters battled the smoky blaze in Yeadon for 3 hours. Thankfully, there were no injuries. But Dan Daughtry and his family watched in disbelief as their home of 17 years went up in smoke.
It's a difficult thing I've ever experienced. It's terrible. It's awful. We lost everything.
Well, if they wanted to come in and get something to eat, coffee or something, in whatever way I can help them, I will.
Investigators are still searching for the cause of that fire tonight.
An unusual fire survivor is fighting for his life tonight. Rupert, the hero parrot, has developed a serious infection after saving his owner's life last week. Eyewitness News reporter Robin McIntosh reports.
It was a cry like that that turned Rupert the parrot into Rupert the hero. It was just last week when fire ripped through Lynn Norley's Willistown home in Chester County. She was asleep inside along with her 2 dogs when Rupert's squawk woke her up just in time to save herself and her dogs.
I think I owe him everything. Everything I have left, and my dogs and my life, I owe to the bird.
The dogs escaped serious injury, but Rupert, an African gray parrot, suffered smoke inhalation.
I really thought Rupert was dead, though. I mean, he was just, he was gasping when I got him.
Last week, Rupert developed an infection, and that's when Dr. Michael Weiss, a veterinarian from Washington Township, New Jersey, came to rescue the rescuer.
Fill his crop up with food. Take it out, and Rupert's been fed.
Dr. Weiss has always had a soft spot in his heart for birds, especially parrots like Rupert.
They're very intelligent, and they will do things to get your attention.
The doctor discovered Rupert had developed a fungal infection in his trachea, prescribing medication and oxygen in a special breathing chamber.
Right now, his prognosis is still guarded. It's really a race between the Aspergillus fungus and the drugs.
While Rupert recovers here, he has a lot of company at Dr. Weiss's office, including another African gray, Dr. Weiss's own parrot. His name is Mickey. Dr. Weiss is donating his time and his talent to save Rupert as team doctor for the Flyers' 4-legged friends. He knows all about beating the odds.
I'm a competitor. It's a race, but I'm not going to lose this race.
It's just a case of one hero helping another. In Washington Township, Robin McIntosh, Eyewitness News.
You got to love the dedication of that doctor.
And Mickey helping Rupert cheer up, right?
How about that?
If all goes well, Rupert could be out of the hospital by next week.
Coming up.
Heart disease. We begin a series of special reports with a look at how some local black women are trying to reduce their risk.
I'm Tom LeMaine in the KYW Storm Center, and as that deadly Florida storm moves up the coast, it's going to give us a stormy night tonight and part of tomorrow. Details coming up.
And spring training. Eyewitness Sports is live in Florida as the Phillies try to get in shape.
It's all straight ahead on Eyewitness News.
John Travolta tells E.T. about his talk with the president on Scientology. Then, the latest on Annette Funicello's battle with multiple sclerosis. Plus, you won't believe where Jerry Springer's headed on E.T.
Tonight at 7 on KYW3.
Anna Nicole Smith crashing a bar mitzvah? See the former playmate looking like she's coming on to a coming-of-age teenager.
She kept on singing to him, "Touch me."
Anna, the surprise party guest on Hard Copy.
Tonight at 7:30 on KYW3.
You have a telephone number, a credit card number, a fax number, a pager number, a checking account number. Isn't it about time you had a number for freedom? Jeep Cherokee. With rugged good looks, shift-on-the-fly 4-wheel drive, and a 4-liter engine, it's the number you've been looking for. Now lease Cherokee for $279 a month and get all this at no extra charge. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
Alarm protects my home with a Slum and Shield.
Installed free.
WeatherScope. This hour brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are.
This is WeatherScope.
Residents in Florida assess the aftermath from the deadliest tornado outbreak in the state history. 38 people are dead, and damage estimates continue to rise at this hour.
In California, the assault of the El Nino-driven storms continues. Dangerous floodwaters and devastating mudslides are expected. Good evening and welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Bob Stokes.
Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Moser. Well, we watched a frontal boundary push through the Florida area overnight. Conditions are much milder at this time. We look at the scenes from the central Florida area where it was hard hit last night. Destruction across the Osceola, Volusia counties last night. As you can see, the damage is massive. At least 38 people were reported as killed. Dozens are still reported as missing. 55 residents are reported as unaccounted for at this hour. Residents and homes and businesses have been destroyed. It is the state's biggest area for a tourist attraction with Universal Studios, Disney World, and SeaWorld. And the good news on that note is that they were unharmed. We are looking right now at a heavy surf advisory still in effect for the North Carolina-Virginia border all the way up towards the Delaware coastal vicinity. And we also have gale warning still in effect from the shoreline of Virginia and North Carolina all across the Jersey shoreline and up towards Cape Cod and into the Maine coastal area. Some of the winds not blowing too good just yet. Too badly just yet across the high country towards Cape Cod and Maine, but that is going to increase as we head into the evening hours, and so those warnings have already been allowed to be posted. What we're looking at right now, some moderate rain showers in and around the Beltway for Washington, D.C. It's been a very wet and slow go with afternoon commuters still dealing with some of the rush hour traffic at this time. We're also looking at very heavy rainfall moving to the north through the Philadelphia area, New York, Long Island, very heavy rain at times here. It's been fairly light moving into Connecticut, and as we get into some of the high country towards New York, especially into the evening hours, we're going to be looking at some snow, and some of this is likely to accumulate. But at this hour, we are still concerned with the possibility of seeing coastal flooding around the Long Island area, because not only do we have the rain coming down, the strong winds pushing in a lot of that moisture from the Atlantic Ocean. So lots to be concerned with. The cyclonic rotation around our low pressure area here. You'll notice that the isobars is very close together. This is a real good indicator not only of the direction of the wind, but that the winds continue to be quite strong and that this low pressure area is still a very significant precipitation maker. As we head into the evening hours, this is our heavy snow track. We are looking at a few inches just above 1,500 feet. Some of the higher elevations looking at 3 as possibly as much as 10 inches of snow. As we head into the evening hours, that heavier snow track will push across the central areas of Pennsylvania and the southeast area of New York State. The high country expecting the most snow, around 3 to 6 inches easily, more widespread 1 to 3 inches. And again, we are looking at this to accumulate as we head into the evening hours and overnight towards western Massachusetts. Watch out if you're headed out towards Worcester or Spencer, Massachusetts, looking to see at least a couple of inches of snow accumulated by the morning hours. Looking at the satellite imagery, you'll notice the circulation with our low here towards the Carolinas along the surface, our deformation zone, that wraparound moisture in behind the Ohio Valley area here. Very cloudy, very windy and drab day there also. The strongest winds, however, coming right in across that mid-Atlantic area. And you'll notice that the marine conditions are very unstable because we are still seeing a lot of thunderstorms associated with this frontal boundary. The outline of it no longer a threat to the Florida vicinity, but we may see some thunder showers this evening in and around the central areas of Cuba and the Caribbean. Let's take a look at what you can expect real quickly. We'll tell you a little bit more about this low pressure area in the forecast, but you'll notice that that track for the low, definitely the signature of a northeaster as it tracks a little further to the northeast before taking a more easterly track out towards the Atlantic, and the heavy snow track eventually moves right into the New England area, and that's where we're going to see some problems tomorrow morning as you commute in. And that's a look at how we're shaping up towards the east. Bob?
Lisa, California is bracing for another El Nino-powered storm. Flash flood watches are out across Southern California. This storm also brings with it the threat of severe storms. In Laguna Beach today, cleanup crews used heavy equipment to remove mud and rocks from the Pacific Coast Highway. The road has been littered with the debris in several locations from northern to southern California. In the Brentwood subdivision outside of Los Angeles, several homes were evacuated because of a moving hillside. A dramatic rescue in Highland Park, California today. Los Angeles firefighters airlifted a man and his 2 dogs to safety after they became surrounded by rushing waters in the Arroyo Seco Wash. Heavy rain moved into the area during the late morning hours. The man and the 2 dogs were all unharmed. Dramatic rescue, dramatic footage, and the rain continues, and the winds, and also the threat of mudslides and the snows in Blue Canyon. Mount Shasta seeing some light snow. 1 to 1.5 feet of snow possible in the Sierra Nevada and the higher elevations. We're seeing heavy rain now in Los Angeles. You can see the moisture coming in all the way down from the southwest, and that is bringing heavy rain in downtown Los Angeles now. We're seeing significant rain as well, just getting into the Santa Monica area. You can see the low pressure system now. Ahead of the system, we've got that strong southerly flow bringing the moisture. That's where the greatest lift is occurring, so the heaviest rain. Behind the system, though, still unstable. We've got cold air aloft, and that's why a showery regime, precipitation regime, will continue behind the system. There it is coming in. A lot of the energy moving out of San Francisco into Reno and the valleys. Lake Tahoe seeing some light snow. Mount Shasta seeing some light snow. Edwards, California, rain. You can see it moving in right there into the LA basin. We have flash flood warnings in effect for portions of Santa Barbara, especially along the southern coast, Santa Barbara County, as well as Ventura County. But here's Northern California. You can see the wet weather. Some of these areas of yellow indicate heavy rainfall and getting into the Sierra Nevada. Again, as it hits the mountains, it rises, and a lot of snowfall coming down. But a lot of the energy now has been transferred to Southern California. You can see the heavy rain coming down in Los Angeles. What a mess it's going to be for that commute. LA time, of course, it's 3:30 Los Angeles time, and now, of course, the freeway is beginning to start picking up on the traffic, and I'm sure there's going to be some snarls if you're watching from downtown Los Angeles, West Hollywood, Malibu, and the loved ones taking a little extra time. Well, of course, you know why. There's a look at the heavy surf advisory. At least that's one reason, potentially. Point St. George, California, down to the U.S.-Mexico border. We have a heavy surf advisory and significant snows in the Sierra Nevada. Again, could be in some cases 1.5 feet easily, and also snow advisories in effect for this area of the Rockies and the Great Basin. San Diego 61 now, 48 in Seattle. We have a 53-degree reading in San Francisco. Chillier as you get up to Williston and Cut Bank, but by no means frigid at all considering the time of the year. 40 in Salt Lake City and 47 in Boise, Idaho. Here's your forecast. There's the movement of the front. Again, behind the front, cold air aloft. So we're going to see some more showers continuing. Ahead of the front, still some significant precipitation. You can see the snow's moving in ahead of that low across the highlands of Nevada. And this is a look at this evening.